Good morning, kids. Welcome to KidsChurch. It's me, Chance, one of the interns. I know we just got done with Vacation Bible School, and I was so excited to see all of you there. I hope you had a great time, and remember to shine like a light for Jesus, because Jesus is a light, and we want Him in our life. Today we have Anthony with us. Again, he's going to be bringing the Word. I'm super excited to hear what he's got to say. But until then, let's get our Bibles ready, and let's listen to what Pastor Steve has to say.
Hey boys and girls, it's your good friend Pastor Steve, and I hope you're doing really good today. Yeah, it's a big old karate kick from me to you, high five with my foot because of what we've been learning this month. I hope you've really been enjoying these lessons about the element of justice. Well, you know, kids, every lesson that we learn from the Bible each week is really important. But many times those lessons are things that we need to put into our brain and begin to use to help us think in the right way. Well, certain other lessons, like the one we're going to have today, is about the direct actions that we can take to apply that biblical truth to our life. Well, today's big idea says justice means caring for those who cannot care for themselves. Ooh, man. Now, we've all heard of people in need. We've seen people who are hungry. We've seen people who need shelter, who don't have clean water. And many times, those people are far away from us. Kids, we want you to begin to take the opportunity each day to look for those people who need help, who can't care for themselves. So, we're going to just tell you a few stories today, just to kind of give you examples of how you can look out for those who can't take care of themselves, okay? All right, kids, for this first one, I want you to imagine that you're at school. You're out on the playground, everybody's having a good time, but you look across near the swings and you see Randall. Randall is having trouble with a bully. This is the same bully that every day would come up to Randall and demand that he give him his snack, or give him his candy, or give him his little bit of extra money that he had for a treat from the machine. And every day you watched as Randall would dig into his pockets and give over whatever the item was that was being demanded. So while you're standing there watching this, you've got one of two choices. You could help Randall, or you could just turn around and walk away. So what are you going to do? You've been seeing Randall be mistreated by this bully all week long, and now you're in a position to help. You could go and talk to a teacher. You can go and stand with Randall. You could go to his aid because he can't take care of himself. And that, remember kids, is what our big idea is talking about. The big idea says justice means caring for those who can't care for themselves. You see what I mean, kids? There are stories like that you have witnessed in your own life, and we want you to stand up and be in a position to help someone that needs your help. Well, what about this story? You're out on your front lawn and you're playing baseball with a friend. While you're throwing the ball back and forth, you look across and you see Mrs. Bateman coming out of her house and down the driveway with what looks like a really heavy trash can. You think to yourself, wow, she looks like she could use some help. But what will you do? Will you just continue throwing the ball back and forth with your friend? Or will you drop your glove, run across to Miss Bateman, and help her get the heavy trash can down to the street? Hopefully you'll go and help out Miss Bateman because it's clear she could use some assistance. Remember, boys and girls, the big idea for today is justice means caring for those who can't care for themselves. You are going to be in positions day after day where you can be a help to someone who can't help themselves. God wants you to go out there every day looking for ways you can help your neighbor and then jumping in and helping wherever you can. Kids, that's what our big idea is about today. That's what our lesson is going to teach us. Whenever you see someone in need, we hope you'll learn to choose to spring into action to help out in any way you can. Now, let's get those Bibles out and let's open them up and let's learn what the Bible has to say about this big idea.
What's up, y'all? This is Anthony, the other summer intern, the better one. Just kidding, Chance is better. I'm excited to be with you guys this morning. Hope you guys like my new hat. I'm just kidding. I just wanted to show you guys this hat. I found it in Mr. Chris's office. Well, I'm excited to be with you guys this morning. Very excited about what happened this past week at VBS. We were all excited, all the staff, about being able to see you guys finally We hadn't seen y'all in like forever. It seemed like forever. We hadn't seen y'all since March, so it had been like 3 months or so. So we were excited about seeing y'all, and we were excited about the devotions and the games with Mr. Craig, where they were soaking y'all, and we were excited. We had a lot of fun in that, and also in the puppets and all other stuff that we had going on, and we were very happy about everything that happened this past week. As I said, I'm very excited about speaking, although it's kind of sad because this is my last time speaking to you guys, and hopefully maybe sometime in the future, if Brother Chris lets me or Chance speak to you guys, maybe we'll be able to speak to you guys in person sometime soon, or maybe sometime later in the future. But like I'm saying, I'm very excited to speak to you guys this morning, and I hope that you guys had a good VBS time with us, and I know that we surely did, even though it was tiring at times. It was tiring, especially since we got home later than expected, but we had a good time with you guys, and hope you guys had a good time. But right now, I'm going to ask you guys to turn to John chapter 5, verses 2 through 8. And I hope you guys had a good week, and I hope that you guys have a good rest of the week and enjoy the rest of your summer, because school is coming up quickly. And I know summer goes by fast, because it sure did for me whenever I was y'all's age. It went by fast, and I wish summer was even longer than what it is. I wish summer was all year long and we never had to do anything in school for the rest of our lives. But life is just not like that, and we have to go to school sometimes, or a lot of the times. But that's how life is. So if we're in John chapter 5, verses 2, let's start reading in John 5, verse 2. It says, "Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches, in these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water. For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool, and troubled the water. Whosoever then first, after the troubling of the water, stepped in, was made whole of whatsoever disease he had. And a certain man was there, which had an infirmity 38 years. 30 years, that's a long time to have an infirmity. That's twice as long as I have lived, and I'm only 18, so 18 times 2 is 36. That's longer than I've been alive, 2 times. And so, verse 5, and after a certain man was there, which had an infirmity 38 years. Verse 6, when Jesus saw him lie, and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he saith unto him, wilt thou be made whole? He was asking, hey, like, you want to be finally made perfect. You want to be finally restored and be healthy. And so obviously the man would say yes. So in verse 7, the impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man when the water is troubled, to put me into the pool. But while I am coming, another steppeth down before me. I know you're wondering, like, why did he say, I have no man to put me in the pool? Well, in the verses before that, it was saying that in order for him to be healed, whenever the angel troubled the water, so they have to get in the pool. They have to be the first person to get in the pool of Bethesda. And so in order for him to be healed, he had to be the first person. So it was saying that before he was even able to get put in, somebody would get in front of him and get in, and they would be the person that would be healed. And so verse 8 says, Jesus saith unto him, rise up, take up thy bed, and walk. And so as we see here, we see that God cares for this person. And I know we've had the same theme for the whole month, and it's been about justice. But, you know, after every week, it changes just a little bit, and it shows a different part of justice. So this week, the theme is justice means caring for those that need help caring for themselves. And so as we see right here is that Jesus cared for this man right here. He had been laid, and he had an infirmity for 38 years. And so this man had been sick for pretty much almost his entire life. Say he was 50 years old. He had been sick since he was 12, if we can say that. Or I don't know how old he was, but he had said he had been sick for 38 years, and he couldn't do anything. And so we see that God cared for this person, and we know that even God cares for us, even though we aren't sick. But as a theme for this week says, justice means caring for those that need help caring for themselves. And I know sometimes we are in need of those, or we are in that situation where sometimes when we are just overwhelmed, when we're going through certain things in our lives and we have problems, or we have problems at home, or somebody's being unkind to us and it's just gotten to us and it's been bothering us. I know sometimes it's hard to pray. I know there's times when you just sit down and you can't even pray anymore, and sometimes the only prayers you have are the tears that rush down your face. And I know that God can hear us even in those times, because sometimes when we can't even pray, there's people praying for us, or we know that God is always listening to us, and that God knows what we're feeling. God knows our struggles, and God knows that that we need him at every single point in our life, in the good times and in the low times. And that's not the only occasion where we see that God cares for the people that can't help themselves. We also see in Matthew chapter 14. You guys don't have to go there. I'll go there real quick. Matthew 14, verse 25 through 31. And this is a story whenever the disciples are on the boat, and they're on the boat, and there's like a storm coming through, and there's a lot of wind and a lot of waves, and the disciples see somebody walking on the water, like, wait, who's that? And so they think it's Jesus, and they ask, hey, Jesus, is that you? And so Peter asks, if that's you, tell me to come upon the water. And so Peter walks on the water, and then he falls because he hears this huge wind. And so verse 25 says, and in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went unto them, walking on the sea, like I've said. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, is it a spirit? And they cried out of fear. But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And Peter said unto him, Lord, if it be thou, bid me to come unto thee on the water. And he said, come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, O thou of little faith, therefore didst thou doubt. And so as I was saying, we see that God even cared for Peter here, even though he was doubting Jesus at this moment whenever he heard the loud wind. And we see that whenever he was falling, whenever he said, Jesus, save me, we see that Jesus put his hand down, he stretched his hand forth, and he picked up Peter out of the water. And even a better story than that, we know the story of the greatest love story that's ever been written, the greatest love story that's ever been told, of Jesus coming down from heaven, a perfect man, and being slain for us, being tortured, being whipped and scourged and all of that, and then dying on the cross, a painful death. We know that Jesus did that for us, and he would have done that for any of us. And even though sometimes we turn him down, we know that he would have done that for us because he cares for those who can't care for themselves. And if it wasn't for him caring for us in those moments where we needed him, we would all be destined to hell. And even though that's what we all deserve, he's just, and we know that he loved us enough to care for us, even though he had no sin, he did no wrong, he never did. He's perfect, and he will never do wrong. And we know that he came down for us. You know, even though we've been talking about these different stories in the Bible that show that he cares for us, there's ways to apply as we wrap it up this morning. I don't want to be too long, and I don't want to be too long. That way y'all can come to church or do whatever y'all want for the rest of the day. And ask that you just stick with me for a little longer. It won't be too long, like 30 seconds longer or a minute. But the application says, is, I know y'all will start school soon, in about a month or so, or a little over a month. Y'all will start school again, sadly. I know I will too. But there's obviously always a new kid. Sometimes maybe there isn't, but sometimes there is that new kid, and you know, everybody stares at him like, who's that kid over there? Who's that? And we think, oh, well, he's kind of weird. I don't really know him, so I'm not really going to go talk to him. But sometimes we just need to be that encourager of the new kid. Sometimes we just need to go stretch out our hand and go talk to him, or be that good, encouraging kid. Or even if there's a playground bully, as people may call it, sometimes we need to be that person to go talk to that bully and say, hey, you need to quit being mean. You need to be nice. You need to show love. Just as Jesus showed love, he told us to care for those and to help the needy, to help the poor, as he says in John, to love your neighbor. We gotta do all those things, and that's how we can apply it to love our neighbor, or even for that kid that always gets left out, or that kid that always gets picked last. How about we pick that kid first, or how about we always involve that kid and help him and let him be in our close friend group. And as we close today, remember that justice means caring for those who need help, caring for themselves. Let's join our hearts with God's heart and be a helper wherever he leads us to help. So thank you guys for being with me this morning. I'm sad that this is my last time speaking to you guys, but I hope you all have a good day. And we'll see you guys next week, and Chance will bring the word for y'all next week, and we'll see y'all. Ciao.